Hi everybody, I'm here to report on last night's 2-0 defeat in Bilbao to send us crashing out, as the newspapers usually say, of the Europa League at the quarter-final stage. I'll start with all the positives, if you can call this a positive. Bilbao are a much better team than us, better individual players. They might win the tournament, I'm not so sure, but they're certainly a much better team than us. They're fourth in the Spanish league, so that beats anything in our league. Celtic wouldn't have beaten them either. The positive is we actually put up a decent display. They didn't overwhelm us, they didn't thrash us, they didn't embarrass us. They had to work hard to get their penalty at the end of the first half and then 10 minutes from the end of the whole game. So we put up a decent display, we gave it a go, they tried hard, they stuck in. You can't really complain about the effort and the spirit of the players. We're just up against a better team, so no complaints on that side of things. In fact, Bilbao could have been, 2, 3, 4 goals up at half time before the penalty. So we were riding our luck a bit, and 2-0 could have been worse, but I don't think we deserved to actually lose by a high score. So anyhow, that's the positives out of the way. What about the negatives? Well, Barry picked the wrong team. Thank God he's not going to be the manager next season. He's sticking with the tried and trusted and failed players that the last couple of managers have put us through. Drossers up front. Why are people saying now, oh, we didn't have anybody up front that can hold up the ball and lay it off? We know that. Drossers can't do that. He's just Dross. So Iggerman should have been playing from the start. Yilmaz at right back is just laughable. I mean, it really is. Managers know nothing. Thankfully, he only lasted 20 minutes, which is good for him, before he gets injured and hurples off. At right back, he's bad enough at left back. At right back, it's just an accident waiting to happen. So with his glass legs, it's amazing he did managed to survive the first 20 minutes, no loss. And what happens? He brings on Barron, who should have been on instead of him in the first place, and Barron should just have been playing right wing back. That's if he wanted to stick to that system. But no, Barry, that wonderful manager, does about 4 or 5 changes. Shefty goes inside centre back. Diomande, who'd been one of the better midfielders, he ends up at left wing back. Barron's in midfield. An absolute shambles. All he had to do was switch Barron for Ridvan. Job done. Or put on Inciala, which he ended up doing at the start of the second half. So terrible management, just overcomplicating things that don't need to be, when you can just swap one player for another and keep the same shape if that's what you really want. So anyhow, team selection was poor, the subs were poor, it didn't all go well even from the beginning. But then within 10 minutes, we should have had a penalty, and everybody, well, maybe not Celtic fans, because they would never see a Rangers penalty being a penalty. Everybody agrees it was a penalty. Drossers actually gets past the guy grabs his shirt, and a couple of the angles you see it being pulled away from his body, so it's not like just a tiny tug that it could be missed. It's pulled away from his body. That's enough to give you a penalty. But then when you see the front view and there's a gaping hole in his shirt, not a good advert, right enough for Castor jerseys, but gaping hole, you think the referee would say, wonder how that happened. Oh, maybe the grass ripped it up when he fell, when he tripped over his own feet. I mean, what is the referee thinking when he sees that and then tells him to go off and get a new shirt to put on? I mean, is he just ignoring it all? Nothing to see here. That was ridiculous. And the laugh is, in normal circumstances, a tiny tug of the shirt gets you a yellow card and a foul. That should have been a penalty kick and a red card. And who knows, he might not have scored. But if Tavernier scores from a penalty, they're down to 10 men. We're 1-0 up. It's the reverse of last week. They'll not have the advantage that they had last week against 10 men. So how that would have changed the game, who knows? But it must have been better than obviously what happened when Gers ends up getting booked instead of the guy who should have got a red card. That's it. Bosnian referee. Apparently he's got a terrible record of, this season, I think 50 odd yellow cards and so many red cards, but he couldn't pull his red card out for that one, obviously. So anyhow, that was bad enough. They made a few chances. We were hanging on. Good blocks, good tackles. Don't think Kelly had a save to make, really. A couple of shots that went astray over the bar, etc. So we were doing well hanging in there. We were trying to pass it about when we could. Some sloppy passing, though, after a nice bit of movement. And then the final pass was just a stray, careless. So that was poor. And then the penalty. And it's one of these ones. Suter's running towards the ball in the box. He's between the ball and the attacker. He's just about to kick the ball away, and the attacker stretches his leg out. He's practically doing the splits. He stretches his leg out to put his foot between the ball and Suter's boot, which is coming to hit the ball, and over he goes. And of course, nowadays, most teams seem to get a penalty for that. The only thing is, when it happens to us the other way, we don't get a penalty or a foul. It goes to the guy who's just kicked you. That kind of thing, you know what I mean? Remember the Dortmund game? Morelos, he put his foot between Hummels, I think it was, in their half. He put his foot between the ball and Hummels. Hummels kicked the back of Morelos' leg, but Morelos kept going, ends up in a goal. VAR pulls it back. They give Borussia a foul because Hummels actually kicked the back of Morelos' leg. So that's what happens in reverse. That's what should have happened last night, really, because Suter, he only kicked his leg because he deliberately put his foot between the ball and Suter's boot as it was coming to clear the ball away. So anyway, it shouldn't have been a penalty. Who cares? It's all over now. They scored with it. And then later on, we should have had a penalty. Just the same as the Sterling one last week at Ibrox. I think it was Drossers tried an overhead kick, made a mess of it obviously, but it bounces and it hits off the defender's hand and it goes to Raskin, who actually shot. It hit the goalkeeper in the chest and then hit the post and away. So that should have been a penalty kick. They should be pulling that back for VAR and saying that's a penalty kick, as they did last week at Ibrox, but no, not this week obviously. The guy didn't know anything about it, but that doesn't matter because Sterling didn't last week either, and it was closer to him. It was about a foot away from him when it bounced off the attacker last week and hit Sterling in the hand. This week it was a bigger distance between them, but no penalty, no surprise there. So when the clinching goal came, 10 minutes from the end, as usual, Captain Fantastic sleeping at the back post, and when you see it, he actually looks round twice behind him and he sees their top scorer, Nico Williams, lurking at the back post, ready to race in on the end of the cross, but he just ignores that. And when the cross does come and he looks round, oh, there's Nico Williams with a free header into the net. I thought Kelly could have done better. He was in the right place, but his hands weren't strong enough to keep it out, so I don't think he was totally blameless either. But Captain Fantastic, as usual, a goal, a vital goal, lost at the back post. I read in the paper today, he was busy. He blames himself. Oh, how nice of you. He blames himself because he was busy organising the defence. When has he ever organised the defence? Just do your own job, mate, and the defence will take care of itself. So absolutely unbelievable that he's saying that an excuse. And as for him wanting Barry to be the manager next season, no, both of you should be gone, long gone. You're a serial loser. You're part of the problem that we can't get a team with the right mentality to battle in domestic games. So he should have been, Tavernier should have been away last summer. He should definitely be away this summer, or we really are in trouble for the new season. And bye-bye Barry as well, because you don't know a player either if you're playing Drossers instead of Egerman and playing Yilmaz at right back and all your shuffling around, and you can't even see that Insiala and Suter are the best central defenders we have and play them every week for the last 5 games and see how that works out. Nothing to lose. Play Barron as well. Barron, Raskin, Diamandi, they're the midfielders we should have. Play them for the last 5 games. Let's see some changes that are meaningful, that show the way ahead for next season, plus new recruits. So obviously when the 49ers take over, hopefully at last.